message about the importance of doing the work and staying the course. And it's been a little bit since I've jumped on and done one of these live streams, and as much fun as I have doing these live streams, and as powerful as I see live streaming technology and just all the tools that we have at our disposal, the reason I haven't been doing a lot of live streams over the past couple of weeks is that I've actually been replacing the time I will do these with a bunch of direct one-on-one strategy calls myself and creators. And I actually, while this is usually something that, I'll charge a lot of money for, because I do not spend a lot of time doing one-on-one coaching, consulting, and working directly with creators one-on-one. One of the goals for this year is just to have the biggest impact as I could as possible on as many creators. And as awesome as the podcast is for reaching hundreds and thousands of listeners every single month, there's just nothing that that's sharp, that keeps me as sharp as being able to jump on with a creator in real time and hear exactly what's going on them. And so I've talked with creators from all levels, from people just getting started, haven't even launched their first book yet, to creators that have been at this for a while and just trying to play a bigger game. But this message is really actually for, it's for everybody, but it's also for creators that are inside my list launch program and all of the programs that I've created, because I have seen some creators that are inside some of the programs and inside some of the, and have followed some of my work and followed some of the training, and they're sharing that they're stuck, right? And they're stuck and they, things aren't moving. So maybe they got to a point and their audience growth sort of hit a, it's hit a plateau or whatever. And so one of the things that I am happy to do with any creator is to jump on and work with them to get them unstuck and get them moving. But it's also important that these creators make sure that they are actually doing the work, right? Inside, and I'll actually just take you for a little look inside my list launch program here. This is actually, for those of you that have never seen any in the inside of any of my programs, this is one of my most popular programs, and one of the programs that the most creators have gone through. And I've probably helped more creators at this point in the comic book space get their email lists going than just about anyone. But this is inside of the list launch program, and it's a step-by-step training on how to start, grow, engage, automate, and then accelerate your audience building through the power of an email list. But for any creator that's like in this program and then finds themselves stuck, one of the things that I have to point them to is like literally the very first thing. Because one of the things that we have, the very first download we have here, is this list launch. It's called the List Launch Progress Checklist. And let's see what happens when if I can pull this up here. We're streaming, so of course it's going a little bit slow. But what this is it's essentially an overview of everything that we will do together inside of the list launch program. And it's the roadmap from, this is your milestones in this program, from your first subscriber to your 10th subscriber to your 100th subscriber to your 500th subscriber to your 1000th subscriber, right? And so there's sort of a checklist that I give you that goes along with all the training. And obviously this checklist is the highest level summation of what happens inside the list launch program. But the important thing for creators that are stuck is that I want you to go back to the checklist and take a look at it. How many of these checkboxes have you actually completed? Because a lot of times creators will do something. They'll start on a path, right? Or they'll find a strategy, or they'll find a goal. And sometimes, if they're smart, they'll find someone that has already done what they're trying to do, has been what they're trying, has been through that path, and has systematized it. Here are the steps, here's the order, follow this, do this, so that you can get a specific result. And a lot of times what creators will do is that they'll get started on that, but then somewhere along the line, sometimes it's at the very beginning, sometimes it's a little bit in, sometimes it's near the end, they get sidetracked and they start chasing something else, or they take their focus off the thing. And then as a result of that loss of focus, they start to plateau. And so the answer isn't look for a new strategy, try something completely else, like abandon the email list thing and start building your Instagram, or then abandoning Instagram and start building your Snapchat, and then abandon Snapchat and start building your Facebook, and then realize that all those likes and follows and shares aren't doing anything when you launch. So you go back to the email list, but you forgot where you started. The acronym for focus that I love is follow one course until success. And so, if anyone's in one of my programs and they're plateauing, I'm going to ask them to show me this checklist that I tell them to print out at the very beginning of the class, and show me all the check marks. Because if you've done all the check marks, if you've done all the strategies, if you've done all the things and you're still stuck, come on, then that's on me. And this is one of those things, though, that I've had to deal with a little bit, and I've had to get some coaching on myself, because it's very easy for someone that in my position as an educator, as a coach, as a teacher, in addition to being a creator and everything, but I've taken on the mantle of, hey, I want to help creators achieve their goals, right? I've taken that on. And as a result, it can be tough when someone that has put their trust in me and invested in me to be their coach and guide isn't getting the results they're looking for. And you can take that personally, and you can be like, oh, and then you can start to question, maybe you're not that good at this, or maybe what you're teaching isn't the right thing, and all this thing. But then I have to always remember, like, I am not going to take credit and responsibility for other creators' success, because I wouldn't want to rob that from them. I want all the creators that I work with, I want them to feel like they are the generators, the creators of their own success. All I am is the guide. And so I am responsible to the creators that I work with, but I'm not responsible for their results. They're responsible for their results. They're responsible for their careers. They're responsible for that. I'm just responsible to deliver on what I promised them. And that's to show them a roadmap, show them step by step, make it as easy as humanly possible for them to follow these steps and get a certain result. But this gets us into a lot of places. And I was also working with a creator this past week who was a little stressed, very stressed about her audience growth, stressed that just stuff did not seem to be working, and frustration that she's tried all the things, and she's trying all the things, and she's doing all of the things, and she's doing everything, and nothing seems to be working, and nothing is panning out, right? Those are the words that she was saying. And oftentimes, the answer to your problem is in the very words that you're saying, because her problem was that she was trying everything, and she was doing this and doing that, and nothing was seeming to work. And the reason nothing was working was because specifically that she was trying everything. She was doing this and doing that. And the truth is, she wasn't following one course until success. The secret to getting better at this game is there is a time for trying a bunch of different things and checking out a bunch of different strategies. But eventually, you need to find one or a few things that work a little bit, and then do more of that and do it better. And then do more of that and do it better, and do more of that and do it better and better and better and better and better. That's how you can actually make progress in this game. And one of the reasons why I put up this, or I've created sort of this checklist like this, is because it is very hard without concrete milestones for us as human beings to continue forward in the right direction. In fact, it's impossible. They did a study, and they tested it in the desert. They also tested it in the woods, and they tested it in the water. And what they found is that if you put somebody in the middle of the woods with no mile markers or no discernible waypoints, or you put someone in the middle of the desert and there's just nothing but desert on all sides, or you put something in the middle of the ocean and there's nothing to see. It is impossible for human beings to go in a straight line. And in fact, most human beings, the only direction they go is in circles, round and around and around and around and around. And the only way that a human being can actually make progress is by having milestones and mile markers and a clear path from where they are now to where they're trying to go, and to actually have concrete milestones and markers for where they're trying to go. And what this looks like when you don't have these things is that you're saying every single year, you're saying the same things. I need more money. I need a bigger audience. I need more sales. I need bigger launches, right? And the truth is, there is no person on earth that couldn't say those things, right? Like, because there's always bigger, there's always more. And it's that wanting and that feeling like that we're not enough, and that stress that is created by that not enoughness that constantly pushes what we want actually away from us. But if instead, if you put the focus on where you started and then where you are right now, which is inevitably a significant ways away from where you started, and then just focus on where it is that you're trying to get to next, and have a strategy, or even we can call it an experiment for what it's going to take to get there, then all it's a matter, like all it really takes is putting your head down and doing the work. That's all it takes, right? Put your head down and do the work. And guess what? Sometimes the work doesn't work. Sometimes the strategy is broken. Sometimes the strategy is not the right strategy for you. And so sometimes then you'll have to pivot, but you need to give it enough time, and you need to give it enough, and you need to follow the course to the best of your ability, and follow the steps and follow the instructions, or follow the strategy to the best of your ability. And then, if it's not working, then we reassess and we try something else. But you want to do this, obviously, with a clear milestone and marker about what it is you're focusing on. And the other thing that I'll just also share is that you want to focus, you want to limit the number of things that you're paying attention to at any given time. Because, I've got to, you can always find something wrong if you look for it, right? And case in point, I sent out an email this week that only got an 11% open rate, right? Some of you guys are like, 11%. Wait, Tyler, you're teaching people how to grow an email list, and it got an 11% open rate? Like, what the heck? Like, well, here's the deal. Like, I really didn't care what the open rate was on that email, but what I was actually caring about was, hey, is this thing going to generate any sales? And lo and behold, it did, and generated a lot of sales. It generated like close to $500, one email. That's pretty cool, right? Like, it's cool that you have this asset that can do that with, some copy and some links, and boom, $500. Like, that's nice, right? But if I was focused on email open rates, or better yet, if I had been so focused on like the fact that my last couple of emails that weren't that weren't making an offer, if I had focused that those open rates were like 7, it was like there was a 7% in there, and then a 10% and a 9%, maybe I wouldn't have ever sent that even email, right? Because it's like, oh, 10%, 8%, why bother, right? And so it's important to be focusing on the right things. And so that's kind of one of the things that I've been enjoying having with these one-on-one strategy calls. And, there's a link, should be a link with this. I don't know if it'll be up or if they'll be available when you watch this, because I don't know how many more of these I'm going to do and for how long or whatnot. But if you happen to be able to book one and you want one, comicslaunch.com/success may be open when you check it out. And we can talk about your next launch and get you a little bit of feedback on next steps and just laser in that focus if that's something that you think might help. But I will also just say, for those of you that were watching this and are like, email lists, Tyler, wait, what? Definitely prioritize your email list. I was actually chatting with a creator in one of these calls, and he was a creator who probably had one of the most impressive comics that I've seen on the Kickstarter platform, or that's been funded on the Kickstarter platform. Like, and as far as indie comics goes, very, very impressive. Impressive writing, art, absolutely gorgeous, like phenomenal stuff. But his Kickstarter launches were not doing very, very. They were getting funded, but he was setting very low goals, and probably the audience should have been significantly bigger based on the quality, at least, of the work. And we know that quality is only a small part or is a piece of the puzzle, but it's not the whole puzzle when it comes to doing very, very well on Kickstarter. And so one of the things that we were talking about, I asked him was, well, how big is your email list? And he said it was nothing. He did not have an email list. Now, he would hardly be the only person that has told me that. In fact, when I do a workshop, and I've got another one coming up later this month, comicslaunch.com/workshop. When I do that workshop, 70 to 80% of the people that are on that workshop tell me they don't have a list. That list is less than 100 people, or they have a list, but they don't ever send anything to that list. And the funny thing was that this creator was actually, his day job was in marketing, and he is a digital strategist, digital marketer, and knows email marketing, the power of email marketing. And I asked him a question. I asked him, if you walked into work tomorrow, and he was sort of the head of a team there, and I said, if you walked into work tomorrow and one of your employees told you that your entire customer database, your entire email list was completely wiped out, what kind of day would that be at work? How would that affect your business? And he said, we would be totally, I think he may have cursed. And he also just said, like, the business would be done. Like, that's the end of it. And so then we went back and said, well, okay, if you are not doing this comics thing as a hobby, but you are trying to build an audience and get readers and build a name for yourself and get funded on Kickstarter, essentially you have a creative business. So why don't you also, for your creative business, have what is essentially one of the most important business assets in your regular business? Why don't you have that same thing for your creative business? And that was all he needed from that strategy call to go and prioritize building an email list. And I hope to check back with him in a few months, and I hope he's got a few thousand people at least on that email list. But again, if you're someone that wants to talk about that or anything that I talked about in this stream, just shoot me actually, no, don't shoot me a message, comicslaunch.com/success. And oh, there I go. Man. Well, there goes my computer, because I got too many things open right now. All right, take care, everybody.